Thank you so much. I see your faces over here on this side of my screen. I've got my presentation on this side, my notes right here. So pardon me for looking off to the side if I'm trying to see your faces, but just saying thank you so much for the opportunity. My screen is shared, so hopefully it looks good. Okay, great. And I'll get rocking and rolling. I just wanted to connect even more dots and just say hello to Connie. Connie, we've been working with some of the Tic Tacs, and so I'd love to connect with you and see where we can connect our dots. And then also wanted to special shout out to Jorge because Jorge met with a couple of our team members when they were in Arizona. So just super excited to see you all on this call and just thank you for being here. And the great thing that I really like about being invited to this space is that I feel like I'm a connector at DOE, but you all are connectors with each other within Arizona. So just really excited to see you all do that great work. So thanks for having me. All right, let's get into it. So I did have a video. I don't think I shared screen with sound, so I can go back and do that later. But like I said, Office of Community Engagement. And one of the things that I really like to emphasize and things that I'm still learning about DOE is that we used to be very research and development focused, not as outward facing. So Building Infrastructure Law and Inflation Reduction Act really helped us change that to bring our programs more outward facing, thinking about clean energy, workforce development, building efficiency, and all of these opportunities that we can bring to communities. When I'm not sure what you all know of or think of when you think of DOE, but for me, sometimes I talk to communities and they think, okay, EV chargers, solar panels, what else? And there's a lot. There's a lot within Department of Energy. I'm learning every day about hopefully enough to share information with you all, but in more depth reasons as well about what is being offered. So this slide I just like to share to just get an idea of some of the things, not all of the things that DOE focuses on and work that happens. So my office, Jennifer Granholm, is helping us trying to push out federal funding dollars to communities. And she said, hey, we want this Office of Community Engagement, like Ann said, to make sure that we are a point of contact to help understand what's out there. And so we serve as a central hub for the US DOE and the engagement efforts. We have engagement specialists within every single office at DOE, but they're not always as privy to what the other offices are saying. So we help connect those dots internally to let them know what other programs are going on, and then externally to all of you to share about those opportunities. Some of the things that we do in our offices is we're that conduit. We share resources, programs, funding opportunities, webinars, and then we are a two-way dialogue. So we want you to engage with us. If you say, hey, look, I understand what's out there. I'm good. Great. If you say, hey, CeCe, I have more questions. I was looking at this opportunity and would love to connect with this colleague or this person. Can you help me figure that out? Or, I'm on this database, but what's the difference between this database and this database? What am I missing? So that is some of the things that we can help with that two-way dialogue and then assess situational needs and interests. You may be really interested in EV charging and you may want to learn about the joint office that we have with DOE and DOT, but maybe there's another way to bring in funding opportunities that have to do with charging from a different office. So again, trying to help and understand those needs. We're all over. The unique thing about our office is that our office is based in DC, but we are all regionally based. So my colleague Jeremiah, for example, lives in Texas. Peter, who does rural and tribal, lives in Colorado, and I am coming to you from Berkeley, California, which is Ohlone land. So just going back to the indigenous connections and communities, and I am in Ohlone land in the Bay Area of California. Bobby is in Michigan, and Genevieve is actually in Portland, Oregon, not Portland, Maine, but covers the Northeast. So we are all over and we try to get ourselves out there in the community. I went to an event a couple weeks ago at the Berkeley Lab, which is not too far from me. And then my colleague Peter, for example, went to the Rural Partners Network for Federal Partners Forum in Georgia. So we try to get out, talk to people, physically meet people where they're at and hear about the work that they're doing, sharing about funding opportunities and resources, and spreading the word of all the different offices and all what's happening at DOE. So how do you start figuring out what is happening? This is very high level, so I'm going to start high level and then go a little further and further in the weeds. This is the Investing America website. You can just go on it right now. And this shows not only Department of Energy opportunities, but other opportunities from various federal agencies that are investing dollars into our communities. So I went to this website, pulled up the Arizona information. There is a fact sheet. And if you go to that website, all the dots mean different things. And that's this tiny screenshot. But I did pull out the difference between the public and private investments that are happening. And not all of those are just DOE, but again, a higher level perspective about what's going on. And then the purple link that you see toward the bottom of the screen is specifically the website that links to our DOE investments map. We have lots of maps here in the federal government and especially at DOE. So this is one of the maps at the federal level that I wanted to point out to you all at a high level about what's happening in your state. So funding, you all may be very familiar with the Inflation Reduction Act, Building Infrastructure Law, and the CHIPS Act. And all of this funding helped us get to where we are in terms of DOE opportunities. And then let me see if my transitions work. Yes. So Justice 40 initiative, would love to just see some like reaction acknowledgement to make sure you haven't zoned out too much in my presentation. But have you heard of Justice 40 before? Any like raise of little emoji hands or reactions, nods? Great. Okay. So because of the Inflation Reduction Act and Building Infrastructure Law, there's a Justice 40 Executive Order 14008 that says, hey, 40% of these benefits should be going to communities. And so when these big projects come in from developers, they need to submit a community benefits plan. How have they been engaging with communities? How have they thought about supporting meaningful community and labor engagement? How are you investing in America's workforce, advancing DEI, so diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility? And how are you going to bring that to historically disadvantaged communities? So that is because of IRA and bill is what they are really trying to emphasize. And so one of the things that our office is doing is trying to help communities understand what this even means. So a developer may win a project. How do these community benefits get planned? How do they know about it? How are they be as proactive as possible? And so this is one of the things that's actually newer that came out of our office in DOE is again another map. So it's showing the projects that were approved and that are working toward those community benefits agreements and what those look like. So I added that link in this slide so you can take a look at it. And here's a screenshot that I did of Arizona as a state. I didn't zoom in too much, so I know it's tiny, but you can play around with that map, click, see projects that are happening. You might know of some, might be interested in others, and then there are resources to get in touch and learn about community benefits plans. The Office of Energy Justice and Equity also actually have some exercises to bring communities through scenarios of what it might look like to do community benefits planning. So all this to say is that our office at DOE, at the big department DOE, are thinking about community benefits plans and ways to inform communities about the work that is being done and how they can have the resources to educate themselves and empower their communities to learn about it. So we just talked about federal, we just talked about DOE, and now we're zoning in a little bit more into one of the program offices called the State and Community Energy Programs, and want to see a like emoji reaction to see if you've heard of home energy rebates or the Energy Efficiency Conservation Block Grant Program, EECBG. Have you heard of it? Do you know of it? Okay, I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 popping up. Great. Okay, I love that. So hopefully you might know more than me, but these are the two programs that I just want to talk a little bit about. And again, this is not a whole inclusive DOE overview, but I wanted to pick out things, offices and programs that I think would resonate with you all the most to share about that. So I will not play the video, but it is very cute. It is a little YouTube video about the home energy rebates program that is something that we are launching all across the United States. Our team was just in Arizona, not this past week, but the week before, meeting with Jorge. They also met with Jorge's office, the Office of Sustainability at the City of Phoenix. We went to Interfaith Power and Light. We also went to La Raza, who is a community that was connected through the Unidos US network, and they had been granted Renew America Schools, which is another program under this office. And we met with some other communities as well that are escaping my mind. But we have been out and about promoting the home energy rebates, and that's what our team was doing last week. So specifically in Arizona. And so the home energy rebates consists of two different types of program, the home efficiency rebates and the HER and HEAR, very silly, similar acronyms, and then the home electrification and appliance rebates. So Arizona launched one part of their program, and then the rest of the program will be coming out. And so the way that you can follow those updates and what that looks like in Arizona, I linked to the website for Arizona. And then I also added DOE's digital toolkit for the Arizona rebates that we created at DOE. And so that's a great opportunity if you want to check out that resource and you want to share about these resources and this program with your communities, you can follow along with those toolkit resources. So that's out there. Wanted to link that for you. And so we just appreciate and congratulate Arizona for doing all this work as the kind of first early states and waves to get this program out. So many congrats to the state of Arizona and all the work that you all are doing. The other program that I want to highlight is EECBG. And if so, I know this is my presentation, but would just love to shout out Jorge and the work that he is doing with the Office of Sustainability because this is EECBG and helping that happen. There's the Community Energy Fellows here, which is noted, and this is how DOE will sponsor a full-time fellow to support the implementation of EECBG program grant implementation. And so that's Jorge right there. And this program is yeah, I see the hands. I see the hands. That's excellent. So what this money is this is money that is set aside for cities, states, and counties, and it is the set amount, and cities and counties and states can say, hey, I want to access this money. There are 14 eligible use areas of what they can use it for. There are various things, and it allows flexibility for cities and states to say, hey, this is what we want to do with this money, and let's help get that money. So our team at the State and Community Energy Programs Office works with those entities to help them find out what they need to do to make sure that they access the money, what's the best route to access that money, and then how to implement those projects. So some of the projects that I remember was really common was replacing light bulbs. So city and county light bulbs to be more energy efficient light bulbs. So lots of opportunities there. So this is how much money that was granted to the state of Arizona. And then there are two cities. So if you know contacts in those areas, please let me know. I know that our EECBG team is trying to make sure that that money gets out the door to them. And I think I meant to put San Luis, so I apologize if that is a typo. I will fix that before I send it out. So those were only two funding opportunities that I shared about and programs that are helping community members and local government in one office. There are over a dozen different offices with various funding opportunities, financing pathways to find ways to access money at DOE. So how do you start? Well, this is a rough org chart that I pulled off of our website at DOE, and these are some, not all of the offices that we promote in terms of funding opportunities. So if I just kind of squint my eyes here, there's Office of Science, that is control of the labs. There's Loan Program Office, there's Grid Deployment Office, there's Manufacturing. So there's a lot of things to navigate here. And how do you keep track of it all? And that's what my office is here to do, is help you navigate and help provide support in finding those opportunities. So there's no secret sauce, but the thing that I like to tell people most, and it's unfortunately sometimes the most burdensome, but signing up for newsletters. There are various offices that have different newsletters, funding opportunities, webinars. How do you find the right one that fits your needs? That's where we can have a conversation. I'm happy to set up calls with anyone on this call who's interested in talking more. We also like to promote the work that Connie does with the Thriving Communities Technical Assistance Network and centers. So we like to say, hey, this is what Tic Tacs are for. They're in your area. Help utilize them. And then we at the Office of Community Engagement like to say, here are the opportunities that are here at DOE, and then Tic Tacs can help you apply for them because we can't help apply, but we can try to help answer questions, lead you to the right people, and so on. I also like to highlight the American-made challenges and prizes, which are really unique funding opportunities that are much more flexible than going through the traditional grant and funding process. So they're unique, they're interesting, they can be a couple $1,000s to a couple $1 million. So there's a lot out there. The other resource that I wanted to highlight, oh, you can't see it, right here on my mouse where I'm hovering over, which says Funding Clearinghouse Energy Communities. So energy communities is a classification of communities that are usually transferring from coal to more green power. And this is a clearinghouse of all the funding opportunities that are out there from DOE. You don't have to be an energy community to utilize this resource, but that's just letting you know that that's who has this funding resource. But it is all inclusive. So I do like highlighting that for people to get a start about figuring out what's out there, tax credits, direct pay, funding, prizes, all of that stuff. So those are the three that I like to highlight as the favorites. There are 3 databases. There are many more databases in addition to that. There are technical assistance programs not only for DOE, but federally as well, and all the other federal programs. And then there are multiple streams of workforce funding opportunities within various offices. And then there is actually a whole office devoted to small businesses here at DOE. So lots and lots of information out there. It's just a matter of where to get started. And so if you don't know where to get started, like I said, there are a couple ways. This is our general email box. So it goes to my colleague Jasmine, and Jasmine can either answer a very broad question, or you can say, hey, I'm trying to contact so and so. Can you help out? You also have my email directly. So I am the person for your state. So you can just email me directly. But if you wanted to share this information with colleagues in other states or other offices, that's how you would connect them. We also have our own website for the Office of Community Engagement. If you don't want to wait for this presentation, you can just type in OCE space DOE and we should come right up. We also have office hours similar to like this, where we invite people and we tell people about funding opportunities. We also try to bring a speaker and highlight on one particular topic. We had one yesterday. They happen Wednesdays every 2 weeks. We highlighted the Inflation Reduction Act, which I believe turned 2. And so we were celebrating that and talking and highlighting accomplishments. So we brought in some folks from our more outward facing, higher level offices and what that looked like as a whole over the cross the department. And then we're also on LinkedIn. So we try to repost opportunities there as well as where we've been out in the community. So tried to be brief and didn't want to go too far into the weeds, but I hope that that was interesting for you and giving you some insight into a little bit about what we do and offer. And so I look forward to connecting with you all. And I will share my last slide, which is all these fun little gifts about home energy rebates and the tax rebates that are out there. So just wanted to say thank you all for having me and hopefully can answer some questions and look forward to connecting.